Hey everybody, this is another video. I'm currently just started a 30-minute long game with Intillion 103. He is a 1070 rated player, pretty much the same rating as myself at 1077. I prefer the long extended games just because it gives me more time to think, more time to strategize, etc., etc. So I have a feeling this guy's making a beeline for that, maybe to try and mess up my castling. So I could do this. No, not that. Not that. Clear. I could do this in order to prevent him from doing that. I don't know if I see any better way to prevent that, so I'm going to go ahead and try to prevent that. Now, that's a little awkward because I've already got these double pawns here. But I don't know. Sometimes you just got to go by your instinct, and instinct's telling me that he wanted to disrupt my castling. All right, so he plays the knight to c6, probably attacking this pawn here. So I'll go ahead and defend. And of course, this, everybody will tell you this is a good move because you're not only defending the pawn, you're also developing as well. So let's see what he does. Now, this already feels like an awkward setup just because of the double pawns so early in the game. I started the video after the game began, but I opened up with d4. He responded with e5. I went ahead and took. And then that's how we got to where we are now. So let's see what my opponent does. I'm not exactly comfortable with this pawn here, mainly because it's blocking my dark squared bishop, but I think there's still probably plenty of time to figure that out. All right, so he puts his kingside knight on h6 on the side of the board, maybe preparing, I don't know where maybe preparing to go here and here to attack this pawn, so he would get the double attack on the pawn. Maybe. We can go ahead and, or he might be going here. But if he was going to go to g4, I don't see why he wouldn't first go to f6. You go f6, then you go g4. That seems to make more sense. But just in case he is going right here to f5, I'll go ahead and play my bishop. Also, a good move for making the developing move as well. So not only defending that f5 square that I suspect he might be going to, I am also developing a piece. I still want to get this pawn out of the way. I still want to get the e3 pawn. Hopefully I can get him out of the way soon, and but I might castle first, but we'll see what happens. All right, so he plays knight to b4, attacking my bishop. Also attacking this pawn here. I'm not so concerned if he wants to trade a knight for bishop. I know generally you would rather, you would prefer to keep your bishops. So this actually opens up an interesting line. And this is oftentimes something I play, but I can never follow through with. If I do bishop to g5, oh, no, wait. No, I can't do that. Never mind. Never mind. So again, I think he's probably attacking that, but it is defended once already. I think I'll just go ahead and continue to develop. I'm up a pawn. I'm continuing with my development. He's developed pretty well also, though his light squared bishop isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I'm just enjoying some Diet Mountain Dew, my drink of choice, especially when I'm playing chess. I was debating whether or not to call this channel the Drunken Chess Player, but since I do often drink and play chess, but it's not as though drinking impairs my chess so greatly because it's really not that fabulous to begin with. So Now, so if he does go ahead and take this pawn right here, I'll of course capture back with the F pawn. That'll screw up the protection of my king if I decide to kingside castle or to castle short. Depending, if he plays something basic on his next move, like, well, I don't know. I don't know what that could be. Like maybe if he goes here, I'll actually push, and then he would probably take, and then okay, all right. So he does play something kind of basic. So let's see what we have. We have So he moved his pawn down here. What is the plan? What is the thought? So I can't take there because his queen is guarding. Now I could push up, which would then open this diagonal, therefore attacking the pawn twice. But if I push up, then he might take, and then that's going to ruin my castling, which is what I want to avoid ultimately. You know what? Let's just go ahead and castle. We'll just castle, get that out of the way. So now that the F2 pawn is guarded pretty well, and him trying to screw up my castling is moot at this point. And then now, depending on his next move, I can push up. Okay, now I was getting ready to say I figure he was probably going to attack my knight, which is what he's doing. So let's see. I'm up a pawn. Part of me is considering letting him take a recapture with the queen. That way I have a nice direct beeline right towards his F pawn. But trading a piece for a pawn, I don't know. But I don't have a lot of good options to move him because pretty much the only safe option, the only safe square to move him to is back here to D2. And then if he pushes down, it might screw up. There's not a lot I can do about that. So let's see. If I go here, if I instead move my knight here, he probably won't take. And then that will also allow me to defend if I push my pawn up. If I move my knight here, he's probably going to come down again to try and screw up my guard. And then I have to decide what pawn to capture with. So either way, I think this pawn's probably coming down. So let's go ahead and move my knight to D4. It's a nice 4th of July evening. Kind of rainy here where I live in the DC area. Hot and humid and muggy. I have not been imbibing alcohol today. So there's that. Okay, so he plays his D pawn out to D6. Now, I think I might push and then let him just recapture and just leave it at that for now. I could take if I... Oops, no, not there. If I could take, in which case that actually opens him up to double pressure on my knight here, because if I take, then he takes with the queen, and now he's got both his bishop and his queen looking right at my knight. But I think I see a better move. I think if I go ahead and I move my pawn up, that's going to be a direct attack there. He may, if he does not move the knight, then he will probably take, therefore threatening my knight. Let's go ahead and get that pawn, because I want to get my dark squared bishop into the game. So let's go ahead and move him. Now I'm directly threatening his knight, and I have a feeling he's probably gonna. Okay, he took. Okay, all right. Well, I didn't even see that. I was completely blind to that move. So he took the knight with the bishop. I was blind to it. I guess I didn't consider it. So now this knight's pretty much a goner, or this pawn is a goner. But so now he's up 2. I want to make sure I get my material exchange out of this. I don't want that exchange to be for naught. So I'll go ahead and take his knight. Now he's probably going to take this pawn right here. I'm thinking I might try to get my knight up here, and then maybe even with an ultimate goal of him being there. Though his queen is guarding that pretty well. Okay, so he didn't do what I thought he would do. Now, if I take here, he's probably going to bring his queen over for an annoying threat. And then not only a threat for check, but also a threat on my bishop. I could... I could push up, forcing him, if he wants, to take that, but then this bishop's right there. Let's see. I could ignore it for now. No, I can't ignore it, because if I ignore it, he's definitely going to take. He's definitely going to take here. So let's go ahead. I've watched a lot of videos where people people rate it much higher than myself. Usually take with the pawn on the edge of the board, and I'm not sure why that is. I guess it's harder for the opposing pieces to get over there. So there's less threats. So we'll go ahead and do that. I would expect him to bring... No, he's not going to bring his queen there because I'm now guarding that square. Okay, that's good. He still hasn't taken here. I'm still waiting for it any minute. If he doesn't take, then I'll probably take back. I'll probably take that pawn instead. I'll probably capture and let him capture at that point, because if he captures with the queen at that point, then he's threatening my bishop. Okay, so he does take. Now I have a check here. Let's see. If I check, he pulls down, blocks with the pawn. No, there's not a lot there. If I decide to check, I might save that. Maybe the knight could go here. Although he could take... Okay, let's clear. So if I put my knight there, he takes with his knight, I take with my pawn, and then he takes with his queen, he's gained a pawn. So that exchange doesn't look very good for me. I think what I'll do, I think I'm going to bring my knight into the game. I'll bring my knight here with the ultimate goal of going there and threatening checkmate. So let's do that. I'll bring my queen out here. See what he does. Now, if he decides to move this pawn, I might go for a check, just to see how he reacts. Now, he He hasn't castled. He can't castle because I'm guarding this square. And we've hardly developed this. Well, not hardly, but he still needs to bring his bishop out and his queen out before he could think about it. Okay, so this was a move I kind of thought he might do as well. But this actually does not affect my original idea, which was bringing the bishop here. So now I am threatening checkmate. He has to respond. There's no way he can't not respond to that. I mean, he could do a stalling move, which I guess he takes this, and then I would just take back, still threatening checkmate, but he gains nothing from that, so I don't think he would do that. He could... I don't know. He could try and take. That would be a silly move. Okay, so he guards the square. He does that. That's a good move. All right, if I take here, maybe he takes with his knight. I take with my pawn. He takes with his bishop. I respond back with my bishop, and he takes with his queen. That's not a good line. So this bishop is undefended. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take his bishop to get rid of this pawn. I mean, I would think he would take back. No, not like that. I would think he would take back, in which case this square is open up. Okay, this is good. So all right, so I'm going to start bringing my rooks into the game. I think this probably bringing this rook here is best because now his bishop is pinned. And actually, let's see. No. Might consider bringing my knight here to b5 with the goal. There's not a lot to do there either. So if this guy moves, I could actually... Okay, what did he do? Let's look at what he did. So he did the knight. He took my c2 pawn, which is annoying, but it is what it is. If I go here, he has to move his king. And he has to move his king either here or here. Because I'm guarding this, and then I'd be guarding this diagonal, so he has to move here or here. He would hope... Well, he would want to move there, which I think creates problems for him. Because if he moves here, so let's say I move my queen here. He moves his king there, which would be ideal because then I do that and I get his queen. If he instead moves his king here, I'm not sure what I have, but let's go with that plan. So he has two squares. That's all he can do. He has to respond. I'm really hoping he goes here because then I win the queen. He probably will see that and go here instead. Okay, well, there's that move as well. That's not a bad move. That is not a bad move. I mean, at this point, I'm just thinking about bringing the bishop all the way back to safety. No, if I bring the bishop, let's see, if I bring the bishop back here, he'd probably take, and then I take, threatening his bishop with this pin. All right, I think that's what I'm going to do. Although the rook is pinned here. The rook is pinned. Wait a minute. If I go here, the rook, I'm threatening his queen. He probably just moved the queen, obviously. No, I'm gonna go. I want to keep the pin. I don't want to mess with the pin. Let's stick with this plan. Now he's probably not. I have a feeling he's going to take with his knight, and then I'll take with my pawn, and then that has the nice effect actually of opening up this file as well. In which case, I could just do something like take the pawn and then go over checkmate, but that's wishful thinking, of course. But all right, so he's defending. Okay, if I take, he takes, that gets me nothing. I don't want to mess up that pin. I kind of wish I could threaten him, this guy. If I instead move my rook here, if I move my rook there, are there any, I'm looking to see if there's any kind of fork that he could do, which I don't think. I think that is going to be the move I make. And then force him to probably take the bishop. Let's do that. So talking and playing actually helps me think out loud quite a bit. But it's not really that great for time management. But again, this is why I chose a 30-minute game. But I'm surprised that I'm already at 14 minutes. All right, so he's brought his queen into the game. The queen, she's no longer an issue, she's no longer pinned. So he's basically given me this. He's basically given me this knight. But I want to know why. And I don't see any immediate threats. I mean, he might push, but that's not going to get him anything. So I think I'll just go ahead and take the knight. Now, he might take, in which case I would take. Okay, he castles. So I'm thinking I could take here. No, that's not a good idea. All right, this pawn is open. It's a tasty little pawn. And then that will have the same effect as threatening his rook. I think I'm going to do that. Now, he might double up. I'm thinking I might take my knight to the edge of the board to harass his queen. That will also, if I do that, that will also pin this pawn. Okay. So he took my knight. which he's probably thinking he's going to come down and take this pawn, which is fine. I'm happy to give him that pawn. If that's what he wants, then he can even have that other pawn. Exactly. But this is probably asking for disaster because how do I want to play this? This, I think I feel like I have checkmate coming up soon. I feel like I want to go here. No, then he'll just take that. So we'll actually just go ahead and check. He'll probably go here. I'll come in and check again. Or do I want to check again, or do I just want to take this rook? If I go ahead and take, that's just going to push him back here. You know what? If material was handed to me, I'm going to go ahead and take the material. And then now I'm eyeing this pawn. I actually feel, I mean, okay, I feel pretty safe about my position. Okay, this pawn's undefended. That's fine. He can have it. I'll take this pawn, and then I can take this pawn for a check. Actually, instead, I will... No, because if I do this, he's probably going to bring down... No, he won't bring down there, because then I'll just take it. Yeah, I'm going to bring my rook over here. The idea being I'm going to... Then I'm going to bring my queen over, and then it's just... I think... Oh, wait, I got to be careful, because I can't bring my queen over. Because this would have been a blunder, and I'm glad I looked again, because... Had I brought my queen over, that pawn is actually defended like that. And now it's not. So I think he's messed up here. Okay, I mean... If I go ahead and boom, he's going to have to go like that. I go like that. No, that's not going to work. Let's go ahead and take that. Now, he might come down, force me to take, and then he can take the rook. I didn't do that. I think this is game here. Yeah, because that's guarded by my bishop. So if I go here, he takes, I go, he has no choice but to retreat, and then I go there, checkmate. So I think that's the game. So he has no choice but to take with the rook. Or he's going to let the clock run out, as I feel a lot of lower rated players do, just out of spite or anger or whatever. Or he'll resign. Okay, so he takes... And then it's at this point it's check. All right, good. I had 3 blunders. Let's look at the blunders, and 3 mistakes and a missed win. So I guess there was something I could have captured and I didn't. So let's retry the mistakes. All right, let the analyzing fish finish. I do like this feature of being able to go back. I've actually thought about upgrading. I think I have the silver package, and maybe thought about upgrading to the gold package or what have you. All right, white to move, and it said I made a mistake. It said that I did e4, which was pushing the pawn up. What would it have me do? Wouldn't have me capture that pawn. I don't see why I would it have me threaten the knight? That's about the only thing I see. Everything else, I guess I could go here. I could take this guy here to... I'm not even sure what that accomplishes. Maybe I could take the pawn? I want to see if it's taken the pawn. Nope, it wasn't taking the pawn. Is it harassing? No. Then what is it? Give me a hint. Oh, it's that. Is it check? Check. Perfect. Why? There's a lot of things I just don't understand. Okay, so if I check, then he responds with his bishop, and then I take the pawn. Okay, I guess. All right. I mean, who am I to argue? I'm a freaking 1,000 rated player. I'm not going to argue with Stockfish. I'm just not. I mean, I just did, but I shouldn't. Okay, let's see. Is this the same thing? No, wait. Is it the same thing to check? It is. All right, what about this mistake? Okay, so this was, I was debating this. I took with this pawn. It would... I feel like if that's not the correct move, then the correct move is pushing up. Maybe. Otherwise, what other moves do we have? Check again? Is it check? It's check. Why is it? I don't understand why this freaking computer is so intent on me making that check. Okay, so here, I think I brought my bishop back down here, preparing for him to take. But the computer says that was a mistake. And instead, is it to threaten his queen? Because that was the other thing I was thinking of doing, is moving here. The rook is pinned. What other options do I have? I could... I'm going to see if it's that. Nope, it's not that. I know it's not that because right away, if I make a move and it starts thinking, that's how I know I've made the wrong move. Because the perfect move is already in its memory and it just flashes right away. Okay. That wasn't it. Well, there's no checks I can do. If I go here, then he'll just take, or he could actually take with the knight. I can't move this guy because then that's a threat. All right, give me a hint. Where's my hint? What? I know. Oh, all right, let's just go to the next one. Was it taking? I have a feeling it was taking. Nope. All right. What is it? I was getting impatient. Inaccuracy. Well, tell me what the correct move was. All right. So I got to look at the little thing because it won't tell me view the best move. There it is. Interesting. Okay. So moving. It says the best move was moving the knight. I guess that does alleviate the threat and also gives a counterattack. Okay, so that was that move. And then this one, reveal the best move. I thought I did that. I guess I didn't. Okay. All right. Well, that was a good game overall. The report, I like to look at this. My accuracy was 47.4. I had 0 mistakes, 5 blunders. Count them, 5. Wait, what was my missed win? Wait, that's a missed win from black. Where's my missed win? Am I looking at this wrong? Missed win. Oh, maybe I clicked the wrong thing. Missed win. Well, yeah, I mean, instead of taking the rook, I could have gone there. He would have gone over. Oh, I see. So so the queen was here. If I had gone over if I had taken the queen over, he would have had to take his king over to the edge. I could have gone up with my queen for check. He would have taken with his rook, and then I would have taken with my rook and would have been checkmate. Okay, all right, that was a missed win. All right, got it. All right, well, I feel that was informative and a good game. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I'll see you again next time.